Welcome to the Margin Business Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. In today's episode, we got Andrea Balletbo. Andrea is the advisory manager at Boopos. Boopos offers streamlined, non-dilutive business acquisition loans for small and medium-sized online businesses. Welcome, Andrea.
We're an American company, but in the US, most of the clients are actually American. We do something called acquisition financing for e-commerce, Amazon stores, etc., which we'll go into deeper and during the podcast. And we work with sellers all over the world. Okay, so good to know it's a worldwide company based in the US, but our founder is actually Spanish. I myself am Spanish. So until just very recently, I was based out of our office in Madrid, and I just relocated 10 days ago to Miami. So I can't complain, right? I'm directly between Madrid and Miami, two of the most beautiful cities in the world. So here's where I'm right now.
That sounds really good. So how do you get to a position, to a beautiful position, obviously, and with a great company, a great acquisition company? How do you get there? Can you tell us a little bit more about what was before, and how did you actually get in contact with e-commerce, or let's say a little bit broader, the acquisition company called Boopos?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's acquisition financing. It's slightly different, but we did start with the idea of being an acquisition company. So it's actually two stories that run parallel, and that both of them are very exciting. Just to answer your first question, a little bit on my own background. I started in the startup world working when I was very young. I was just 19 years old. I was in university, and I was just excited by all of the opportunities that were growing within the startups in a moment in which startup was kind of the new word in town, right? You were starting to see the first startups. I myself was in London. I started to do an internship in a startup, and I guess that just kind of took my career onto where I am now. Before Boopos, I was in the Bay Area working for a top tier tech company. I'm sure a lot of the people that are listening know it, Quora with a Q. It's a Q&A platform similar to Reddit.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's
trying to position themselves. Yeah, they try to position themselves more in quality than quantity. So they're huge, for instance, regarding topics of software, startups. So always a little bit the same ideas. And I was doing business development for them, a little bit of internationalization, etc. With COVID, I had to go back to Spain, like many people, right? Plans change. And I joined a startup that a friend of mine was starting from the very beginning. It was just an idea. We grew it together, had my first exposure of what it was to actually turn an idea into a project, a company, a brand that works for almost 2 years. And by the end of that venture, I came into contact with what Boopos was starting to do. At the end of the day, the startup environment and successful founders in Spain is not that big. And the founder of Boopos is actually an incredibly successful entrepreneur. He himself was one of the founders of the biggest unicorn in Spain. It's called Cabify. Okay. It's like an Uber, but for Spain and Latin America. And after years being the CFO of Cabify, turning it into a unicorn, raising billions, he decided that it was his time to do his own business. And he started with the idea of being an acquisition company. So you were saying Boopos acquisition company, that was right where we first began, the idea of replicating Tracio's model and just being an aggregator. But very soon he realized that where there was a big niche and a big need in the industry was financing those acquisitions. Before Cabify, he had been in investment banking all of his life. So Omar, you can't even imagine that man's brain. He's just like a genius. And he realized, hey, I can buy companies that I don't know how to run. I'm sure that all of your audience knows way better how to run an Amazon store. Or I can actually give those people that know how to run an Amazon store money so they can buy other competitors, so they can buy another Amazon brand, join them, create operational leverage, and grow through acquisitions, buy and build, instead of just having to start a new brand or a new business from scratch every time they wanted to grow a portfolio of businesses in the e-commerce space. So that's how Boopos went from an acquisition company, just first idea, to an acquisition financing company. Okay. And that was the moment I came into contact with them, fell in love with the project. There's no one else right now that is financing that acquisition of e-commerce brands, and we both know that that's a huge opportunity and a huge market. And then, of course, just the fact that the team that they were putting together was so powerful. Hey, you had to be in Boopos, right?
Okay.
So that's kind of my journey, very much related to Boopos' journey, and that is what brings us here today.
Okay, wow, that's already a lot of information. And one
Yeah,
information
wow,
I
I
picked out.
talk.
No, that's good, but I love it. You know, it's really good. So because one information I like really much, because you know everyone knows Quora, you know, and I want just to go a little bit deeper in Quora, because it's a very interesting concept. And they positioned themselves very well. So I think they did very good to hire somebody like you. Obviously, there is a big team behind, but definitely they did some good work. Why I'm saying this, because I actually unsubscribed from everything what is Quora, because I'm a very how can I say, I'm very influential in all these stuff. So if this pops up in my email, everything was pops up in my email. That's why I have only useful stuff in my email. So I need to go through my email. And when I see Quora there, then I click on it. Hello, Quora. And I speak many languages. So I have like, I don't know. I had at some point like maybe 6 or 7 Quora messages per day in my inbox. And I open them all up. And one message you read like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I didn't want to do it, but it forced me, because sometimes it was really like they actually picked out exactly
right?
out exactly what I want to read.
That was the whole idea of Quora. Yeah, to curate interesting content.
So it's actually I wanted to use Quora for the company in order to write some Q&A, to write some good text and everything. And every
I
time
should get you in touch with my former colleagues at Quora. I'm sure they can speak to you about great opportunities for Quora for businesses. That was actually the division I was at when I was there, the more B2B focus.
Exactly.
Very
and this is
relevant.
what I wanted to do. But then every time I did it, I was hanging on reading this stuff instead of promoting my own company. I mean, promoting instead of writing something for our company. And then I just said, okay, well, whatever. I don't at the moment. I put it down, or I need to give it to somebody. I need to hire somebody who's actually doing these questions or blogs, putting them on Quora.
Content intensive.
Yes, definitely. Sure. And I'm very sensitive to all that stuff, so I need to have everything clean. It's like my table. I need to have everything clean. If not, I'm beginning to find
the same. Labeling everything, classifying everything.
Exactly. So yeah, this is about Quora, but nevertheless, it's definitely I'm very impressed, because I've never met somebody who actually worked at Quora or at Reddit or any company like that. So it's very interesting. So and it's as well.
I'm very glad actually to see users that are still so active in Quora. Like I left Quora almost 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
So I've been a little bit more disconnected from Quora, but it was an amazing project, and their whole mission was to just spread the knowledge of the world, right? And everything that is stored in people's heads, quantity versus quality, could actually be sent to the right user that was interested in that. So I'm glad to see that it's working and that they're creating a solid presence. Should definitely get you in touch with my former colleagues. Remind me after this.
That would be great. So just to understand, so from Quora, which is maybe you did business development. I'm not sure what you mentioned, business development.
Exactly that. Yeah.
You went into acquisition. Afterwards, we have acquisition financing. But into acquisition in the e-commerce space, well, that's a big jump. I mean,
That's a huge jump.
How is it possible to find? I mean, okay, you went back in the startup. You said you have been back in Madrid to doing in the startup community, and then it came into this. I mean, it's very interesting to see such a project growing from. I mean, we cannot say nothing, because such companies are funded very well. My guess. Tell me I'm wrong. So and the whole phase, I mean, is very interesting. The journey and where it is at today. So if you could tell me, what is the vision of Boopos from now on? Because I guess the critical phase after a few years is now done, and they're looking up into getting in their real. In the real direction. I mean, obviously there's always a direction, but now really you can focus on that direction.
It's consolidated, right?
Exactly.
I get you. So before talking about the future and the vision, let me just make sure that everyone here that's listening actually understand the present and our mission. And
Okay.
that will, because you and I know about Boopos, we've talked about it before, but I guess a lot of people that are listening don't really have that knowledge so much.
Yes,
So we
definitely.
were saying before, we do acquisition financing. We started a couple of years ago with Boopos, and then it really took its turn probably last year. Because as you were mentioning, we realized that there was a lot of people that were looking to buy and sell their businesses in the online space. And we talk about Amazon, we talk about D2C e-commerce, we're talking about subscription-based businesses, SaaS. We're talking about an ecosystem where you find platforms such as Microacquire, which a lot of people are familiar with, Flipa, you have brokers like Empire Flippers. There was all of this movement, but hey, there was no real financing alternatives behind that, because you can try to go to a bank, but I'm sure that a lot of people that have tried to buy an Amazon store, for instance, they don't get the best reaction from the traditional banker. They can be very skeptical. Hey, you're trying to buy something that is selling on Amazon? Okay, give me all the documentation. And you go home with your big pack of homework of documentation that you have to put together. And then you go, perhaps after 3 months, they say you qualify. Most of the times you don't even qualify for the bank loan. And when you've qualified, they're going to ask for personal guarantees, which is of course not ideal, especially if you're trying to, a lot of CEOs in the Amazon space are looking to build a portfolio of other stores and a roll-up strategy. How many times can you risk your personal assets, right? If you're trying to do multiple acquisitions. And then other people say, okay, I'm going to raise venture equity or venture debt, but that's not available for everyone either. And when it is, it will of course also take a longer time, and it will come at the cost of diluting yourself. So we realized there was this need of just acquisition financing for e-commerce, SaaS, Amazon. And that's how we started Boopos. And that's really our mission, to help acquisition entrepreneurs, business owners, smaller aggregators acquire the dream businesses in order for them to be able to just sit on the business and run it, or grow a portfolio of businesses. As a seller, they can also come to us, we'll pre-approve the financing, help the sellers sell faster. So at the end of the day, we've created this small ecosystem also, in which we have our own database of qualified and pre-vetted buyers, which whoever's listening and wants to buy a company, they can come to us and start working with us. We also have kind of a pre-approved marketplace of listings that have already been pre-approved, aggregated from our ecosystem of partner buyers, brokers, and then it's all about matching, right? So we can help them. We went from just acquisition financing to more of a 360 focus of, hey, it's also about advisory. It's also about understanding your needs, taking you to find the right businesses, and then helping you fund that acquisition so that you can acquire the business and then eventually grow it. So that's where we stand today. I don't know if you have any question before I started talking about the vision. I feel like I've been talking like for 20 minutes in a row.
Don't worry. It's very interesting, you know. Now, from what I understand, you're not limited to Amazon. Obviously, you are really broad. That means we can talk about Shopify. We can talk about
exactly.
any marketplaces within the European Union. We have Cdiscount. We have in Germany Kaufland. We have many where you can buy on. So you are able to finance all of these projects, correct?
Correct. So we're looking. Our main niche is, or main niches of verticals would be D2C e-commerce, which can be Shopify, can be Walmart, whatever, Amazon FBA stores, and subscription-based businesses, SaaS, small apps that work with a subscription-based model, etc.
Well, that's very wide range. That's very good.
Quite wide. And the vision is kind of in that direction, even enriching it more. So we'll talk about that in a sec. But currently where we stand, these are our 3 main verticals. We are testing our waters with content-based businesses, but we don't really like to market it. Buyer needs to be more specialized in content-based, whether not everyone needs to have a specific experience in Shopify, for instance, to be able to run successfully Shopify businesses. Maybe you've been in marketing Amazon and you're well enough skilled to run a Shopify business, right?
Sure.
And mainly what we're looking for is within these verticals, profitable businesses and trailing 12-month revenues around 100K. If it's any lower, it really doesn't make any sense to use a financing partner, because you can probably just raise a seed of friends and family, right? Whether what we want to do is be useful. That's our whole purpose, to be useful, so that the buyer can have more leverage and do more with the money they own. Instead of buying one company, they can buy 3 if they use a financing partner. If you down the road, if you exit 3 businesses instead of just one, and your investment was minimum in each acquisition, do the math. Their return on investment is way higher, right? So have to be profitable. They have to have at least 100K in annual revenue, the trailing 12-month revenues. And then we're looking for ideally 24 months. So some kind of track record, some kind of presence, positioning. They're good businesses. Minimum 18 months. Anything below 18 months would be outside of scope. Which also means that, hey, Boopos is not only your financing partner, but it's also your partner in analysis. We want to make sure that you're a qualified buyer and that you're going to buy a good business. Either because it's already pre-approved by us, or maybe Omar, you found that on your side. It's someone you know, or it's a business that you found through another broker. We can always look at it and in just 48 hours pre-approve it. So we're fast and competitive.
Wow, that's
it's a lot,
fast,
yeah. It's very
that's
new.
No, but it's very good. So not only e-commerce as well, SaaS software, which is pretty unique, a pretty unique model, I think. Now there is obviously one question that I have. Do you provide as well, like, somebody says, okay, you give me the funds, but can you help as well with some management, or can you give us a CTO, or is that possible? Because some people are not secure enough, but you should maybe hold them by the hand and help them
also
within the process.
Transition.
Exactly.
That's actually a very interesting question, Omar. I think you're the first person to ever ask me that. We do get asked a lot, do you hold by month through the M&A process? And the answer to that question is yes. Like, we'll help you throughout the whole M&A process. But it's true that when you've acquired a company, the management is more on the new business owner. So we don't really have like this human resource additional complementary service, which is, you just gave me a very good idea there that I can run through the team. What we do have that we can always help with is, of course, we have a good network of business owners that we know are good business owners. So we can always put them in touch. We're always happy to make introductions. We don't have any kind of referral fees in this sense. It's always about winning and about trying to make sure that our buyers are the most successful they can be. So if that means that they need to meet someone from our database, we could always look into that and have them put them in touch. And then, of course, a lot of businesses that are out there for sale might also have with some micromanagement team in place that they might be willing to take over with the new business owner.
This is definitely something I was thinking about, because if you give $1 million to a company, you don't really know, on papers, you know their capabilities, you have studied them, you have studied their financial forecast, but these all of these numbers are vague, and everything can change overnight. So for me as a business owner, it would always be better to follow my money, to follow where is it going. We have somebody in there, they can report to me every few days what is going on, the progress, all of these things. Then, Omar,
that's what venture capital would do, for example, or private equity framework
exactly.
And that's what a lot of business owners don't like. They want to own the business they just bought. They don't want to have to report to some external. So one of the biggest advantages that a lot of buyers see in using Boopos financing versus any other form of financing is, of course, the no personal guarantees part. Of course, we're fast, but then we're not diluted. So if you're a smaller aggregator, for example, that you're looking to raise funds, raise equity, or raise debt down the road, you want to build a portfolio of brands as fast and as solid as possible, so that when you go and knock on the private equity or the venture debt's door, you're not gonna dilute yourself so much. That's when we come in also, right? So it's part of the game, I guess. It has that additional risk, but it's part of the game.
Okay, that's very useful information, and I'm sure we can talk about this
for
another
hours.
time. 100%. So my next question was about the future of Boopos. What is your vision? I mean, what's the vision in the next years? Where do the founders, or even you, where you want to take the company? What's the vision on that?
So right now we just closed our Series A, and despite all of the news that you hear out there, right, and layoffs in the aggregator space and so on, we were able to secure 68 million just a month ago. So it's
Wow,
clearly
that's a
something
good
that's
number.
working. Yeah, it was huge. Yeah, we're very happy. We're very excited. It's clearly something that's working. It's clearly something that people like, and it's clearly it has a path, right? So for now, I think our main objective is to consolidate the portfolio that we're building and increase our pipeline of deals, increase our loan book, be the referent for acquisition financing in this space. Like if
Okay.
someone say, I'm looking to buy a business and e-commerce or in SaaS, you immediately go Boopos, right? So and we're getting there. We're already quite top of
Oh,
mind for
definitely.
many people. We're getting more and more leads in this sense. So that is something that we're already achieving. But then we're also exploring the opportunities that we have beyond those verticals. So we just recently promoted one of my colleagues to head of partnerships, and he's doing a great job into, hey, what are the opportunities beyond e-commerce and SaaS? So maybe ask me again in 6 months and I'll say, hey, we can now also finance more traditional brick and mortar businesses, right? So it's where can we take our model and apply it to other verticals? That's kind of what we're now exploring so that we can just grow the business
Sure, if it makes sense.
in other
Def
directions. If it makes sense,
if it
exactly.
makes
So
sense, yeah,
that's what
definitely.
we're exploring, right?
Because
So
for me,
it's open.
what I see of your company when I see it directly, like it's a digital company, first of all. Okay,
Absolutely.
this is what I see. So I'm not sure brick and mortars, it's I don't know, but this is your business model. But when I see your
But what
company,
about the
for me, it's
hybrids,
digital,
for example? Exactly. But then what about the hybrids?
Yes,
Because
this is
nowadays
different.
it's so hard to
Yeah,
get this
sure.
differentiation. So
It's
that's
true,
kind
it's
of what
true.
we're exploring. You're completely right. That's why for now we haven't really approved any brick and mortar. Not one has passed our underwriting or investment committee. But hey, I personally, for example, have a lot of interest in what can we do with the hybrid models?
Okay.
Or what about the person that buys an Amazon business but plans to sell it to wholesaler? It's a world of possibilities.
Oh, definitely. Now I
So that's
understand.
kind of a direction I think we could possibly take it to,
Okay.
that we're still exploring.
That's
And
really
then
good.
making the most out of the ecosystem of partners that we're building, connecting brokers, buyers, sellers, being that one place, find it all kind of.
Oh, definitely. You're about to do that because your connections are going quite far now. So it's a very good business model and very happy. Yeah, definitely. It's really exciting. I have another question for you. What is your message in general? I mean, in general, to entrepreneurs, to anyone who might need funding, want funding, or wants to grow his business, in this critical times right now, obviously. What would be your message to just out of your head to any one of them?
Out of the head, let me go back to a classic message, but that I think is the king of messages. Cash is king. Like always take care of your balance sheet. Cash is king. If you want to buy a company, make sure it's a good company. If you want to raise funding for your own company, make sure you're profitable. So always count the numbers, do the math, and cash is king. That I think is the summary of everything, right? If you come to Boopos, that's going to be the first question. Hey, how are your margins? How's your revenue growth? How much are you investing in cost of goods sold? Are you being efficient? So I myself hate math, Omar, to be very honest with you. I freak out when I see a very complicated Excel, but it's important. You have to understand those numbers. It's the basis for everything. So either if you have a business and you're looking to acquire another business, if you want to start your own business, if you want to grow the one you already have, buy another business, buy and build is very successful, easier, faster to do, don't waste all of your money to that. But in any case, whatever you're doing, cash is king. Do the math. I think that's my message. And I hate math, but you got to do the math.
Very good. You know what we're doing from time to time? We're quoting our guests. So I most probably will have cash as king beside your your picture.
If my math teacher from high school saw you, he'd be like, "Oh wow."
I really like that one. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. So another question: where can anybody who's interested to get in contact with you or with the company in general, who wants information? I'm sure there's plenty of people who want information about financing or working with you in general. Where can they contact you at best?
Okay, we have a whole team of advisors, always ready to be there, ready to take care of our potential business owners that want to work with us, you just have to go to our website. So it's www.boopos.com. Once you're there,
put it here.
exactly. We're gonna put it here, right? Okay, so boopos.com. Once you're there, you're gonna get 2 options to contact. You're gonna get an amazing chatbot, which will take you to the flow of conversation and eventually get you in touch directly with the real human so that you can talk to them. Or you can always schedule a call and just get directly routed to an advisory for a 30-minute introductory call. Either way, completely encourage anyone that's interested to reach out. We're here for them.
Great. That's sounds really perfect. Very easy. And yeah.
And of course, find me on LinkedIn. I'm there.
Oh yeah, LinkedIn, definitely. Definitely.
Right?
LinkedIn is we're all on LinkedIn, so Andrea will be as well available through her profile.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah, great. Thank you so much for your time today, Andrea. It was definitely, very much informative, and hope we can talk about this again.
Absolutely. Thank you, Omar, for having me, and thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you.